black people. None of these were trans people. None of these were even Democrats. These were neo-Nazis who had things carved into their guns. You can sit here and muddy the waters, but you are just lying.
I just don't want innocent people to die. Sue me for that.
Then maybe tell Trump to tone down his rhetoric.
If you think this is Trump, this is exactly, you literally.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down a CNN debate that absolutely exposes the double standards in how we talk about political rhetoric and accountability. We've got heated arguments about who's responsible when violence happens, Adam Mockler bringing the data, and Abby Phillip pulling out receipts that completely dismantle the conservative position. Trust me, the hypocrisy on display here is wild, and we need to talk about it. Make sure you watch until the end. Please comment down where you're watching from. It's great to see people from over the world connecting in here. All right, now let's get into the video.
Agents. It matters. Said it. And I think that applies not just to ICE, but to law enforcement across the country. We should be angrier when law enforcement are targeted in this country.
Thank you.
Period. Now, that is a separate issue from linking rhetoric to saying that's why this has happened. They're doing this.
It was written on the bullet stand.
I understand that, but that doesn't mean
you don't have to connect dots here.
Of course
he wrote
do.
it down so he didn't have to connect dots.
I know his motives. I'm not questioning his motives.
So then the motive was anti-ICE rhetoric.
Well, did it say rhetoric on the? Because I thought
it said anti-ICE, and when you have people out there literally 8 hours earlier,
right? So, but here's what
attacking
ICE. I'm not going to hold people accountable for everything someone else says and say, oh, well, this guy must have done it because this guy said it over there. Again, there's way too much attacks on law enforcement in this country.
Coming from who, though, Dan?
Coming from a whole range
Show
of
me
people.
a Republican elected official that has attacked ICE or law enforcement for doing their job.
How about the Capitol Police?
I said, give me a...
You said a Republican who's...
I said of ICE agents right now. You're going back...
You said or law enforcement. No, you said or law enforcement.
ICE agents.
Yeah, no, ICE agents...
All right, hold on. Let me let Kristen have a word.
I was going to say, the fact that we still have not yet, taken a second and said, let's think of those agents, let's think of the people, we have gone straight to our party jerseys.
Well, to Bakari's point, the people who were killed today...
That's my only point. I said, think of the people, all of them.
I agree with you, but you go right to, we don't know the motive, we don't know this. Look,
I didn't say that.
He actually didn't say that. I mean, I do think he's making a point that the people...
Well,
hold on. Okay. The people who were killed today were detainees. I actually think it's a valid question. Who were they?
Well, I think
what were their names? What were they accused of? Why were they there?
The motive of the shooter was to kill.
I think that's the point Bakari was trying to make.
Before we start going into motives, there are two sides. It's not Republican and Democrat. It's good and evil. And for some reason, we get lost into this fight where we blur the lines and say, well, we can all agree here that people who want to go shoot someone for whatever reason is wrong without saying, oh, Republicans, you don't know the motive. We can admit the motive. If they're deranged and they want to kill someone, there's nothing.
Hold on, Ben, hold on. I think you're right. And obviously, I mean, I think that's not, though, what a lot of people are doing. They're saying this is the left against the right when it's really deranged people against all of us. And I think that is, hold on, Ben. It's deranged people against all of us who are not deranged and don't go out killing people. I just don't understand what is the value in saying they did this, they did that, when it's he did it.
It happens on your show every night.
What?
Every single night, it's they did this, Republicans are that, Trump rhetoric, this and that. It can never just focus.
No, but
every
really,
single night.
in a concrete way, what are you talking about?
Every single night, it is here, and it's not just Republicans saying they did this. It's Democrats forgetting even what happened, trying to gaslight over it and say...
So who is Peyton Gendron?
I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
No.
Hold on a second, Bakari. When on this show have we blamed Republicans as a corporate group for
I didn't say blame
murders?
anyone. What I'm saying here is that there were tragedies that happened. And even right now, as we're talking about this one, and to talk about the detainees that died, I want to pray for them too. But immediately we can't talk about the rhetoric, your rhetoric, that rhetoric. You go right into this.
We did not. It started with the clip of J.D. Vance, but who is Peyton Gendron? Who is Peyton Gendron? Who is Peyton Gendron?
Okay, so Dan just said we shouldn't hold people accountable for what someone else says. And I need you to understand what's happening here, because this is the exact playbook they run every single time. When there's an incident involving federal agents, conservatives immediately blame Democratic rhetoric. Immediately. But when we see attacks motivated by rhetoric that's been pushed for years by certain media figures, suddenly it's, well, we can't connect rhetoric to actions. You see what Bakari's doing? He's not justifying anything. He's asking who were the detainees that died? because that matters. But watch how Ben and Kristen keep trying to make this about both sides when the data doesn't support that. And Kristen's speech about good versus evil sounds nice until you realize it's a deflection. Because yes, obviously violence is wrong. No one's debating that. But when we have documented patterns in the data, when researchers track how people get influenced online, we can't just throw our hands up and say, well, troubled people exist. Ben's talking about how the show blames Republicans every night. But here's what he's not telling you. There's a reason outlets discuss certain patterns more. The FBI's own data shows where the primary threats are coming from in America. The statistics are public information. And the audacity to bring up Gavin Newsom's comments from 8 hours before as if that's the smoking gun, while completely ignoring years of inflammatory language? That's not analysis, that's deflection. This is why these conversations go nowhere. One side wants accountability for documented patterns. The other side wants to play victim and deflect.
Before we go there,
he actually
the
murdered
clip we showed.
1 second.
The clip we showed was J.D. Vance, not what actually happened.
But he
what
was
does that have to do with it?
He committed mass murder of Buffalo grocery store patrons, just innocent people. Who was Dylan Roof? The things they had on their weapons, the things they had on their guns, and all I'm saying is yes.
So I'm sorry. What are you trying to say? You're trying to say that we don't condemn that as well. That I'm not condemning that as well.
What I'm saying is yes. I will give you credit for that condemnation, but we also condemn that stuff on our side. It's not as if it's this side.
We started the segment
tonight with a clip of the vice president. Go ahead,
for what?
Adam.
For what he said last night about ICE agents. 8 hours before the attack on ICE agents. Is anyone here going to condemn Gavin Newsom?
Go ahead, Adam.
Yes, I can. I don't like Gavin Newsom, so I condemn him.
You know, every time one of these tragic every time one of these tragic shootings happens, everybody's at each other's throats about which side did it, but we're missing a broader pattern in America. This was another young white dude who's in his 20s. We have seen this pattern accelerating over the past decade. The same day Charlie Kirk was shot, the same exact time, there was a neo-Nazi who shot up a school in Colorado. We can look at the acceleration of the radicalization of young men through a few frameworks. There's the COVID pandemic, which had people isolated, had a bubble around themselves, and a lot of young men failed to pull that bubble down and got sucked down these algorithms. I've seen it happen to my close friends. They get sucked down these algorithms. We have foreign actors trying to sow chaos in America, sow division. How much does Putin salivate when he sees us at each other's throats? Then we have domestic actors, people like Elon Musk, riling it up. So all of these factors, wait, hold up, Ben. All of these factors come together to create this pattern that we see of young men in my age range committing these shootings. And if you want to sit here and go back and forth, tit for tat, I can say Dylan Roof, Robert Bowers, John Earnest, none of these were black people. None of these were trans people. None of these were even Democrats. These were neo-Nazis who had things carved into their guns. You can sit here and muddy the waters, but you are just lying.
I just don't want innocent people to die. Sue me for that.
Then maybe tell Trump to tone down his rhetoric.
If you think this is Trump, this is exactly, you literally just did your entire argument. So, Abby, let me go back to the
Can I make something that might be a little bit more controversial than that?
Hold on a second.
Sure, go ahead.
This is the part that should not be this hard.
He says he hates his enemies.
Hold on, Adam.
Who says he hates his enemies?
This is the part that should not be this hard for people to understand. After the assassination of my friend Charlie Kirk, I would hope, and after multiple attacks on ICE facilities, I would hope that leaders of the Democratic Party, and one of those leaders is Gavin Newsom, would know better than to go on TV and to say that ICE agents are the bad guys and that they're authoritarian, and then expect that no one's going to listen to what he's saying or respond to it. There should be more accountability for that. Let me just
ask you a question about that, okay? Because I think at the heart of so much of this is your...
Thank you, Adam. Finally, someone brought up the actual data. And you know what the research shows? These individuals weren't influenced by progressive political content. They were influenced by specific ideologies that get platformed and amplified by certain mainstream outlets. And watch Ben's response. He immediately pivots to, well, I condemn it too, as if that's the point. Nobody's questioning whether you say you condemn it, Ben. We're questioning why you refuse to acknowledge the documented patterns researchers have identified. Adam just laid out the entire pipeline: social isolation, algorithm rabbit holes, foreign interference, and yes, platform decisions that allow certain content to spread while suppressing others. These are systems of influence, and pretending it's just random troubled individuals is either willful ignorance or deliberate misdirection. Here's what makes me furious. Ben keeps bringing up this incident involving federal agents like it's proof of equivalent problems on both sides. One incident. Meanwhile, Adam's pointing to multiple documented cases, and we could keep going with the data. And the Gavin Newsom thing? Calling policies authoritarian is political criticism. That's not the same as conspiracy theories that researchers have directly linked to real-world consequences. Stop acting like they're equivalent. You want to talk about accountability? Let's talk about how certain networks spent years platforming debunked theories. Let's talk about inflammatory language from political leaders. Let's talk about one party refusing to address what their own intelligence agencies identify as primary concerns. The numbers don't lie, the patterns don't lie, and pretending both sides are equally responsible is the lie.
Insistence that using certain words leads to violence. Is that what you're saying?
Calling people fascists and Nazis and authoritarian, yeah.
So when
yes.
Rand Paul posted this today,
this is the whataboutism.
No. I'm just here. Hold on. Rand Paul said YouTube admitted the authoritarian Biden regime ordered them to censor Americans. He used the word authoritarian.
Yes, is it true or false?
Okay,
Google
and then let me
hold on.
Yes. And then let me play. This is Donald Trump. Just Donald Trump. Listen.
It's a choice between communism and freedom. This is communist, this is Marxist, this is fascist. There's a radical left Marxist, communist, fascist. She's a Marxist, she's a fascist.
We have short memories around here.
Who's running for
I guess
mayor in
what
New York City?
I'm saying, Ben, what I'm asking you, Ben. Last thing,
communist?
okay,
Is
guys.
he a socialist?
Guys, hold on.
He's not off.
No.
You guys are running
Ben,
in here.
He was calling Biden a communist.
Ben, he was talking
I
about
understand.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Hold on a second. Okay, I have a question for you. Are you so committed to this idea that we should just ban certain words from the lexicon? Authoritarian, fascist, Nazi, communist. Should we just ban them because they're all leading to violence? Or is it just that it's not okay when your political opponents use them?
I think you're incredibly smart. And I think that you're smart enough to realize.
Really condescending.
No, I think you're smart to realize that when you
condescending.
demonize law enforcement to the point where what is happening is becoming regular against ICE agents because it's coming from people like Gavin Newsom, we should know that there is a correlation there.
Hold on. I take your point about.
It was 8 hours.
Hold on. No.
earlier.
Hold on a second. Listen. To a degree, I take your point about demonization, I think generally. But I'm asking you about your insistence that certain words that are being used by your political opponents should be off limits. And if that is your contention, then I think lay that on the table and let's make that clear and let's apply it to everybody.
We missed a good point. We missed a good point that he made. Everybody at the table did, and I think that we need to pay more attention to it. And I'm glad you brought it up and not me. What there is a common theme about is young white men in this country between the ages of 20 and 30 committing a series of mass shootings. And until we actually have a conversation about that, do you know who else struck that chord? You know who else said the same thing on Fox News? Trey Gowdy, who said the same thing. We have to begin to have a conversation about families, video games.
I'm fine. I love
the problem is people like Ben Ferguson.
You and I can agree on that.
We have to include the media and social media. The fact that tonight the first thing we started talking about was J.D. Vance instead of what actually happened is irresponsible. And we have to start holding that accountable.
Can you use J.D. Vance's own words?
Why is that right where you go?
It's the vice president.
What words are more important in this?
Oh my God. Abby just destroyed him with receipts. Did you see Ben's face when she played that Trump supercut? Communist, Marxist, fascist, over and over and over. And suddenly Ben has nothing to say because the entire argument just collapsed. This is the game they play when Democrats call out authoritarian behavior like, I don't know, trying to overturn an election. That's dangerous rhetoric. But when Trump spends years using those exact same words, crickets. When Rand Paul uses them, that's just politics. You can't have it both ways. Either the words matter or they don't. Either everyone needs to tone down rhetoric or no one does. But what Ben's really saying is, Democrats need to shut up while we say whatever we want. And notice how Abby kept pressing him. Should we ban these words for everyone? And he couldn't answer. Because he knows the second he says yes, we've got hours of footage of Republicans using the exact same language. The hypocrisy is so blatant, it's almost impressive. Then Bakari tries to steer this toward the actual pattern that researchers have documented, how young men are being influenced online. And what does Ben do? Pivots to video games and families. Are you serious right now? We're talking about documented online influence patterns, algorithm-driven content exposure, and he wants to blame Grand Theft Auto? This is why nothing changes. Because instead of addressing how platforms amplify certain content, instead of confronting the actual documented patterns, we get the same tired deflections from the 1990s. The data is clear, the pattern is clear. Young men are being influenced, primarily through specific online spaces. And pretending it's about video games or family structure is just another way to avoid accountability. Words matter. Platforms matter. And no amount of deflection changes that. So, what do you think of this? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.